Council please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business, we have a presentation by the mayor. I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Hushauer.
Test, test. Good. All right. September is the month of National Recovery. It's our National Recovery Month. And we have a proclamation we joined with Cross Bridges to make sure that this month is recognized. And so I'll read from this proclamation. Whereas National Recovery Month is a national observance held every September to unify community and reduce substance-related deaths and overdoses. And whereas mental and substance use disorders affect all communities, and whereas nearly half of all overdose deaths involved a prescription painkiller, prescription painkillers are killing more people than car accidents and homicides combined. And whereas 1 in 4 teens reported having abused or misused a prescription drug at least once, 4 out of 5 people who use heroin started with recreational use of prescription painkillers. And whereas the town of Mount Airy offers hope and resources, supports those in active addiction, recovery, and their loved ones. Whereas the town of Mount Airy invests in the future of its youth through prevention and education. And whereas the town of Mount Airy joins Frederick County in going purple, standing together in conquering addiction. Now therefore, be it proclaimed that the mayor and council of the town of Mount Airy, Maryland, do hereby proclaim the month of September as National Recovery Month and call upon all citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to go purple to bring awareness and understanding of mental health and substance use disorders and to celebrate those living in recovery. This is adopted on the 9th day of September 2024. And I'm looking out here. I thought we might have a representative here. We don't tonight, but we certainly are honored to recognize September as our National Recovery Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Moving on the agenda, we're going to go to approval of council meeting minutes and closed meeting minutes. I make a motion to approve the August 2024 Town Council meeting minutes, the August 2024 closed meeting minutes for the Public Works Agreement, and the August 2024 closed meeting minutes for the land acquisition. Do I have a second?
Council President, Council Secretary, can we do those one by one, please?
Is there a reason for that?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the August 2024 Town Council meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous aye. I make a motion to approve the August 2024 closed meeting minutes for the Public Works Agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Nope. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to approve the August 2024 closed meeting minutes for the subject of land acquisition. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yes,
Within the realm that we can have discussion without disclosing.
absolutely. So just a comment before I vote. I don't believe that the meeting minutes from that closed meeting accurately and fully capture my comments and sentiments that I offered up at the meeting. And after conducting my own independent research, while it's hard to say, I don't believe the information presented to me reflected the full content and context of negotiations concerning the issue at hand that was addressed. So I will not be supporting those meeting minutes. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adopting the closed August 2024 closed meeting minutes on land acquisition, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
So we've got a 3-1 pass. All right, I'm going to move on to the Civil Air Patrol. Major Rolfe, I think, is in the back. Welcome, sir. Did I skip it? Oh, my bad. Sorry, I skipped right past public comment. Does anybody here have any public comment on anything that's not on our agenda? I asked earlier, no one answered before we started. That's why I figured we were all good. No public comment, hearing none, seeing none. We have no speakers. Sorry, I jumped to the minutes because I was going for a record. Now, Civil Air Patrol, Major Rolfe. Sorry about that, sir.
That's right. I'll try and keep you on track with speed here. This is our report for the month of August 2024, which is actually probably one of our busiest months in quite a while. Under mission significant activities, we still had members of the squadron continue to support the Wings Bay Patrol mission, which concluded over the Labor Day weekend. And we continue our close relationship with the Glenelg High School over in Howard County and provided program information to students during their freshman orientation event. Is it not getting me? Is that better? All right. The squadron manned an information booth at the National Night Out. We supported road closures for the Mount Airy Mile and provided basic compass instruction during the camp night and provided support to the public works during Celebrate Mount Airy. We also conducted our quarterly Adopt a Road cleanup on 1 September. For our qualifications and achievements, we had one member completed qualifications for mission radio operator, small unmanned aircraft systems technician, and senior ground team member. We also had one cadet successfully pass a milestone exam and was promoted to the cadet officer ranks. Under significant training, one member completed an intensive week-long emergency services training, which resulted in all those qualifications, hosted by the wing that supports completion of several qualifications and started the path for more advanced positions. We also had two members participate in an SUAS flight clinic hosted by wing to both practice and refine some flying skills with those aircraft. For flight time, we had two cadets complete powered orientation flights. We gained one new cadet and another one that transferred temporarily in from another squadron due to a schedule conflict. And our operational status, our ground team remains fully operational and capable, and we still have multiple individuals available to support mission base and SUAS operations. On the horizon, the squadron is providing a color guard this week for the town's 9/11 memorial ceremony. Our ground team is participating in an upcoming wing-wide search and rescue exercise this coming weekend, and we are also expecting to have personnel from several other squadrons joining us for training. Finally, we're scheduled to provide support to the Oktoberfest event in early October. Pending your questions, this is my report for the month.
Anybody have any questions? Comments?
Just thank you for all you do.
Thank you. All right, keeping it quick.
All right, now the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company report. I see Matt Hurd out there.
Good evening, everyone. For the month of August, we had 193 rescue calls, 113 in Carroll, 30 in Frederick, 1 in Howard, mutual aid, 17 in Carroll, 22 in Frederick, 10 in Howard. For fire, we had 43 calls, 25 in Carroll, 7 in Frederick, so a total of 236 calls combined. In Box 113, we had 30 EMS, 1 fire. Box 114, we had 9 EMS, 1 fire. Box 11 is 22 EMS, 8 fire. Box 115, 16 EMS, 3 fire. Express Care, 9 EMS. Box 13, 6 EMS, 1 fire. Box 14, 10 EMS, 1 fire. And Box 15, 4 EMS and 4 fire. A little busy month, but with the help of the paid staff and the volunteers, we're getting things done. Tomorrow we have our fundraiser at Memories, so if you want a good meal, come on out there, support the fire company. 10% of all sales goes towards the fire company, so we thank Memories for the participation in that. Also, this Sunday, 9:15, we have the duck race with the Rotary Club and the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company, so come on up. If you haven't bought your duck tickets, they're still for sale. We'll be up there on Saturday making the man-made river. It's quite the show. It's pretty entertaining. On 9/29, whoever wants to ride a bike, we have the joint fundraiser. We have like a poker run where we'll actually stop by 6 different stops, fire companies. You have a chance to get a poker chip, so to speak, and then whoever has the highest amount wins the prize, and the lowest amount wins the prize. So couple fundraising ideas or, events coming up, so come on out and support the fire company, the Maryland Patriot Guard, and the Rotary Club. So, any questions for me? And look at the shirt. This year is a blue shirt. I had no choice in the color this year, but yeah.
How do you get a duck race shirt if you buy a
Well,
ticket?
no, actually, if you spend $50, you get a T-shirt, or we have them for sale up
Okay.
there
So
at
they'll
the
be for
Carmel
sale
grounds.
Sunday.
Absolutely.
And it's the date 9/15, not the start time, correct?
Excuse me, the start time for the duck race is at 2 o'clock, but it opens up at 12 o'clock.
Okay. 'Cause
Yes,
we have a different
9/15
events.
is the date.
is
Excuse me, yes, 9/15 is it September 15th, yes. And like we've already spoke about, we have Pine Grove hat now. We have 9/11 ceremony like we spoke about already. Starts at 6:30. There's parking down below or across the street or at Calvary. Please come up and honor our 9/11 from the Pentagon and the World Trade Center. All right?
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Now we'll go on to the Mount Airy Police Department and Chief Ginevra.
Thanks, John. Good evening, everybody. So I'd like to first start out in itself. I know I've addressed it several times in the past, but again, I want to really put this issue out here, is the Mount Airy Police Department does not monitor the social media as much as the community may think that we do. There's only myself and one other individual that monitors that in itself. If in fact that when it is monitored, we will address whatever issues that the community may post out there on social media or phone calls. What we're dealing with first, folks, is obviously the safety of the community addressing those situations. So if in fact that there is time and a break in that chain, we'll post it on Crime Watch and then we'll post it on the social media on the Facebook page. In itself, though, I know a lot of folks, they post a lot of the information out there. Again, with that not monitoring it, we don't know what's going on in the community in itself unless we get a call. So again, I just want to stress in itself that just call 911, even though it may not be an emergency. And then again, someone may think that it's not an emergency, and then from our standpoint, maybe it is an emergency. So again, just call, and then we'll address it, and we'll look at the situation, monitor it from there, and again, we'll put that information out. Then the second thing I'd like to address too, also on that, is I know we've had a problem in the past with a lot of the parks and with loose dogs. And I know we're coming to a season in itself that deer are running around, things like that. I know we got a call last week for a fox also, and there's been years in the past with raccoons. If you see any of these wildlife or any of the loose dogs, please don't approach any of the wildlife. Give us a call, again, 911. Please don't call the station. We do not dispatch any of the officers from the station. Again, 911, they'll get the appropriate officer to come and again, survey the scene and take care of it. Again, don't approach any of the wildlife. And itself also with the police department, you can also call animal control, and they may or may not, depending if they have an animal control officer available, to dispatch them to that scene in itself. Attached to the docket that I had put out there in itself is you'll notice that there's some traffic complaints that's behind our monthly initiative that we do for traffic control and stuff of that come through. We've had numerous complaints in the Twin Ridge and Rising Ridge community, and that's a result of the raised pedestrian crosswalks and people not stopping at those stop signs. And not only that, with the school opening. All the schools are open. I want to remind the community and those that commute from Mount Airy and other locations, the schools are open. The officers are out there monitoring the schools and these stop signs. We've received complaints that apparently the cross guard over at Twin Ridge, people are not obeying that crossing guard. I just want to remind folks in itself that with that, in section 21-107C of the Maryland Transportation Article, willfully disobeying lawful direction of a school crossing guard, and it gives the information of what defines a crossing guard. It's a $290 fine. Please pay attention. Those little ones are out there. Stop at the stop sign. Slow it down. You're going to get where you need to go, and we want to make sure that everyone gets there safely. Again, that's the reason we're there. So first, we're giving some knowledge to the community. Officers are making the stops in that area, but the next phase in itself, maybe the officer in that discretion, you may receive a citation for that. Again, it's just trying to put some knowledge out there for those folks. And again, that's for the school crossing guard, the stop signs, and speeding through that area. Also, in regards to that, also is another initiative was conducted separate from our monthly of the Park and Marydale and Park and Ridge, also for speeding and the stop signs. We have our older community members that are in that area, along with the library. Slow it down, a stop, 3 seconds or more. That means that vehicle needs to completely, everything, the movement, it's stop. Please make sure that we stop, that you're looking. It's not a roll-up, piggybacking off, or just blatantly not even giving attention to that area. I spent all of like 10 minutes, and I had 2 people literally go right through the stop sign that they didn't even acknowledge it. God forbid that anyone else was walking through there, another vehicle, that could have been really bad. So with that, moving forward, we did a lot for the community outreach. It was a busy month. We had the Fireman's Carnival. We had National Night Out. Thank you again, the Mount Airy Mile. Camp Night, August 13th in itself, I, as one of our team leaders for the Mount Airy Police Department, I met with a bunch of other beautiful people in itself for the breast cancer making strides. And then Mount Airy Daycare, there's a photo in there with some officers that joined in. We did another tour for the Mount Airy Daycare Center. And then we moved in to celebrate Mount Airy. Unfortunately, it rained, but it's still overall a good turnout. Put in there for K-9 Paisley's deployment with Officer Eberts, 3 deployments resulting in 3 narcotic seizures. All 3 of those are pending investigation. 2 were a result of the Mount Airy Police Department deploying K-9 Paisley, and 1 was with the Maryland State Police. Our upcoming events, September 11th, we have the 9/11 ceremony at Pine Grove Chapel, as Mr. Hurd had stated in itself. September 15th, again, as Mr. Hurd stated, we have the Mount Airy Duck Race over at the Carnival Grounds. October 12th, the Mount Airy Animal Hospital is having Wagon Tails over at Watkins Park. It's a nice event. I think people would enjoy that. And October 13th, we have that breast cancer making strides event in itself. Again, the Mount Airy Police Department is, we're sponsoring, obviously, our own team in itself. We're up to 25 people already. And again, I brought one of our shirts just to display. If you join the team, you get a shirt. $20 or more being a part of the team. I think it's a really nice shirt in itself. So that's the back side. That's the front side there. So again, I think it goes to a great cause. Somebody knows somebody, whether it's for breast cancer or not, unfortunately, of that nasty disease that's out there. And also with the upcoming October 21st through the 28th, we have Mount Scary. And I'm sure there's probably maybe another event in itself that may be forthcoming also. So again, I really want to stress that social media, call 911, those loose dogs that are out there and those wild animals, again, call us. And again, those traffic complaints, just letting you folks know in itself, those officers are out there. And again, in itself, the officers out there in the morning. I know there's been a lot of events happening over the last few unfortunate days with some school things that are happening and other community things are out there. So the officers are out there, so I don't want to alarm anyone. If they see the officers at the school, that doesn't mean that something is happening. They're doing their job, folks. Is there any questions?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
I see your link for the breast cancer, if they want to join. Is that posted on the town's website?
I believe that Ms. Gina shared it on there. It's also on the Mount Airy Police Department website also.
Okay, great.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
somebody wants to join their team, they click that, go.
Yes, ma'am. And if
Great.
they have any questions or anything, they can call the station and I can walk them through it.
Great, thank you. And
Yes, ma'am.
all sentiment from all of us, thank you for what you do and what you always do. We always want to thank you guys.
Yes,
And I have
thank you.
Some comments as well. So thank you once again for breaking out the traffic stops so that we can see not just how many stops and citations and warnings, but the locations of those. That's very helpful. And again, thank you for the detailed August, the whole monthly focus on Twin Ridge and Rising Ridge Road and those issues associated with the raised crosswalks and such. These are the issues that have been directly brought to us through the Streets and Roads Commission, so I appreciate you being responsive to that. And then a separate topic, and you kind of spoke to this, but Given the times that we're living in with these active shooter incidents, I just wanted to ask, is MAPD current on active shooter training? And do you at all do any desktop exercises or exercises to practice response to those kinds of incidents?
Yes, and in reference to that, we don't practice any of that at schools here locally. That puts a lot of stress on some of the kids and not only parents of events like that. The officers in itself, with the result of Officer Brandon Wright, who came aboard in itself, all the officers have done force-on-force training with the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, and also we don't call it active shooter anymore, it's active assailant, because anything can be utilized as a weapon in itself in regards to those incidents. But yes, myself and other officers have participated in that. As a matter of fact, at the Twin Ridge Elementary School with the Frederick County Sheriff's Department. So your officers here in the town, they're going to be your first responders. And then if anything, whatever SWAT incident teams that they have out there, they'll also respond too. All of the officers have updated equipment for that to take place with such bags, their jump out bags, other armor equipment and stuff like that, along with other materials in itself to address those issues with that. Also, there's every year we do our in-service training, so there is updated material, and then anything that comes across of any intel, that information is disseminated to those officers if there is an active threat.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir?
Anybody else?
Just a quick one here, unless the mayor. I just want to say, first off, thank you for all you do. Second, I know that you patrol all the schools in Mount Airy, just not the Frederick County, but also the Carroll County side. So anyone that's going down Main Street in Watersville during pickup and drop-off times, please slow up because people do cross there. It does back up onto the roads of parent drop-off, so just be careful and obey the speed limit and all the other things that encourage safe driving. Also, if you see something, say something. As I know for a fact that you don't mind if they call 911 and to get the information down to you. It's better to be safe than sorry.
No, we don't. And again, sir, a lot of times in itself, that information is set out there on social media, and we don't see that, and then it's shared. And again, it's information, it's stale.
Oh, yeah.
Just give us a call. That's what we're here for the town. And someone may not think, again, that it's something, but it could be, and we could deter it.
Yeah. Go through the right channels, not social media.
Hopefully so. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize, first of all, thank you for going out when we saw that dog on Rails to Trails. You were very quick to get a couple officers out there, so I appreciate it. What's important for the public to know is that complaints have to be filed with Animal Control of Carroll County. If you can get a picture of the dog who is loose, then that makes it even better. But you have to complain about it to the Animal Control Carroll County, or it doesn't go anywhere. So, putting pictures on social media is great, but unless you make the phone call, we're not going to have any progress, especially with that one particular dog that is out on Rails to Trails. But hopefully the pet owner has that dog locked up again. So, thanks.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're going to go on to mayor, council, and staff reports, starting with Mayor Hushhour.
All right, thank you, Council Secretary Galletti. We'll start with this. In August, the town lost a member of the Mount Airy Hall of Fame in Bill Nill. Bill was born in 1940 and passed away on August 10th. The Frederick News Post reported that farming and music were his life. He served as the president of the County Farm Bureau and traveled throughout the world to assist on agricultural missions, providing knowledge of better farming practices. He became a member of the local Hall of Fame for his volunteerism, supporting countless events with hay rides and donations of services and activities. The family produce stand stays as a destination business for all residents in the surrounding area, and he will certainly be missed. So farewell, fair winds and following seas to Bill Nill, as a Navy guy would say. Second of all, water testing in terms of PFAS, water testing for August 2024 is complete. Testing still shows varied results for wells and pumping stations. For example, pumping station 1 was within EPA guidelines this cycle. Prior to this most recent test, and back to 2020, which was when we first started testing all these, pumping station 1 has always exceeded the EPA limits, but now it's within them. So these vary from quarter to quarter, and we'll keep doing what we can to minimize the risk within the town's water system. Rails to Trails update, all enhancements such as the archway benches, signs, and petway stations along the Western Trail are completed. A ribbon cutting will occur in October, but we haven't decided on that specific date yet. On the Eastern Trail, Les Barney corrects me, we're still waiting on the MDE approval to install the asphalt over the gravelled section on the remaining trail. Permit is pending for the footbridge replacement as well. Is that accurate, Barney? Okay. All right, and then the Mount Airy Duck Race, already talked about it, September 15th. Please come out and support that. Mount Scary is a week of events from October 19th through October 26th that includes a haunted caboose, a spooky walk down rails to trails, a costume contest, and a trunk or treat car show. So lots of fun during that week. And finally, we will be recognizing Patriot Day on September 11th at 6:30 at Pine Grove Cemetery with all local military, veteran organizations, and other local nonprofits and civic groups. And we shall never forget. And that completes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Anybody have any questions for the mayor? Okay, we're going to move on to council member reports, starting with myself for Recreation and Parks, Beautification, and Flatiron. So I'm going to start with Parks and Recreation. Parks and Recreation meets the third Thursday of every month via Zoom and live on Facebook. The Department of Public Works put dirt on the Summit Ridge fields. There was discussion on fixing the upper Twin Ridge backfields. Windy Ridge signs have arrived and are being installed. Skate park signs have arrived. Approval of locations to be given to Department of Public Works. Signs came in for no motorized vehicles on rails to trails per the public request that was received. They will be placed at the entrances to the rails to trails east. Upcoming events, you can see the town calendar online, but they asked me to mention September 14th, 6 o'clock, the Geology Walk at the Watkins Park entrance. September 15th from 12 to 4, the Duck Race at the Carnival Grounds. September 15th at 4 o'clock, there's a stone tool demo at the entrance to Watkins Park Rails to Trails. Gosh, that would have been good for my boys to know an actual use for stones instead of hitting each other. Stone tools. October 5th is the Oktoberfest downtown, and October 12th, there's the Three Rangers Foundation is having an event at Watkins Park to honor those who fought at the Battle of Mogadishu. We should have a council team in this. Attendees will be performing physical tasks, push-ups, et cetera, around the park, and it's free. The next meeting is Thursday, September 19th, 7 o'clock. Flatiron task meeting, there has been a lot going on, but I'm going to summarize it. They've been meeting for 2 years now as of August, continually working on fundraising campaigns as we've discussed. The building was open to the public on Celebrate Mount Airy on the 31st, and I understand it was a huge success. There was a lot of positive feedback and really good response from the public. There were historical display boards, photographs, design concepts, a lot of positive feedback from the public that throughout the entire event, some residents said this was their first time ever walking inside that building, and they were really excited. So the task force and the town are considering opening for future events, so stay tuned. And the next meeting will be, do we agree, September 16th, a week from tonight, 7 o'clock here in Town Hall. Everybody is invited to attend. It's kind of getting excited, and they're getting momentum now that more people in the public are like, wow, this is a great idea. What a great building. Beautification meets the third Tuesday of every month, 7 o'clock, Town Hall. Again, if you want to volunteer but you don't think you have time, we're in and out of there in 45 minutes. She's fantastic, the chair. Rails to Trails Gardens, they have been weeding them, pruning them. They need to do pruning on some more trees. The train station garden was weeded. needs some pruning. 4 Kentucky coffee trees were planted on Rails to Trails. I don't know what that means. If it smells like coffee, I don't know. And more trees will be planted on Rails to Trails, and beautification will be the 3rd Tuesday of the month here. And that concludes my reports. Next, we'll go on to Councilmember Evans with the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Council Secretary. Pretty light month in August for the Planning Commission. For Carroll County planners, Hannah mentioned that the Penk annexation was given favorable recommendation with amendment to bring it to priority. Our Frederick County liaison was not in attendance, and as far as I know, John, we don't know who that is yet until he or she magically shows up.
Yep, she should be here this month.
Okay, perfect. So,
I think so. She's supposed to come in on the 17th and do a meet and greet with myself and the chairperson.
awesome. For new business, McDonald's approval of proposed exterior modifications did not take place due to a representative from them not showing up. Master plan final reviews were done, and the document is up for everyone to see on the town's website. Please take a look at it, peruse through it, and bring your questions and comments to the public hearing for the master plan on September 12th at 6:30 here at Town Hall. Come out and express your opinions on the plan and be heard. After we compile response from the citizens, we will review again and get the document ready for a joint workshop with the council in preparation for the final draft to be presented to the council for review and ultimately approved. Our next PC meeting is Monday, September 30th, here at Town Hall at 7:30, and that concludes my August PC report.
I have a question. So you kind of went by it, but I want to make sure the public's very clear, and I'm assuming it's on the town website. So there's a public meeting to review the master plan this Thursday at 6:30 here. So please make sure anybody that wants to see that master plan, because that's kind of important. We've been working on this for like 3 years now, 4 years, right, Bill? So I just didn't want to gloss past that. This Thursday, 6:30 is a public's chance to look at this document that has had public participation for the last 3-4 years anyway, but it's your chance to come and look at it this Thursday.
Yep. This is the final draft before we kind of send it off to the council. And
Okay.
so there's not, I mean, if you want to look at it, there's a lot of information in there. It's not just something you can sit down and take 15
No,
minutes.
it's on the town website, though, every chapter?
It is on the town website, yes.
Is it on there like that big document, or is it?
Carl's going to dive into it.
Yeah, I'll dive into it.
I was just
some more.
asking John real quick, the format that it's on the website.
Yeah, it's individual chapters. You have to click on each chapter.
Okay,
as
so you
go
click each chapter and see it. Great, thank you, John. Go ahead, Councilmember Munder.
Oh, no, sorry, I was going to do it during my report, sorry to interrupt. I noticed on the website today that there was some trouble finding the actual chapters and stuff, so I called Town Hall, they updated on our main town webpage now, on the floating banner on the top, and on the smaller latest news, read more section, that there now are clickable links on those documents that should take you right to the master plan page that has all the chapters.
Good.
Council Secretary, since Councilmember Munder weighed in, could I weigh in on a quick comment as well?
Sure.
So to the public, this is a very important document because the land use designations and then the associated zoning that fits into that land use, that sets the land use and the type of development that's going to take place. This is the plan for the next 10 years of Mount Airy. And so once the land use and the zoning is set, that's 90% of the ballgame. So people came out to Green Tree and to the Beck property, scores upon scores of people, you interacted, you affected some change, but my message to you is, by that time in the process, 80% of what that land's going to look like is determined by the land use and the zoning in the master plan. So I really encourage you to take a good look at that document, get engaged, and if you feel like you need more time to review that document, you should express that to your town government. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to move on now to Councilmember Demoter for his streets and roads and EDC.
All right, thank you. So the EDC last met on July 24th. There was no meeting in August. Our next meeting will be held on September 25th at 7 p.m. And as was mentioned, many town events, but I wanted to highlight for a second time a reminder that the Oktoberfest will be held on October 5th on Main Street from noon to 6 p.m. Moving on to streets and roads. We last met on July 30th. The main topic of that meeting focused on citizen views regarding stop sign and raised crosswalk configurations on the Rising Ridge Road. We closed out the conversation and the actions on that topic, but one of the things that was an action item was to what I call optimize the signage on Rising Ridge Road, and I believe the town has done this. They've removed some 15-mile-per-hour signs that were a little bit confusing, and then they took down the speed hump signs and replaced it with raised pedestrian crosswalk signage. So I think it's a lot cleaner and it's a lot more consistent, and I think that was a good improvement. I want to remind everybody that the Streets and Roads Commission sponsored and town-sponsored Slow Down for Your Hometown Safe Streets campaign promoting driving the speed limit is well underway. Again, this is a grassroots campaign, and if citizens wish to participate, you can contact the town through the website or go to Town Hall to request a yard sign to participate. And I have to say, the response this year has been very strong. We had about 85 signs, and through the citizen requests, those signs are gone. So we're cleaned out. We've ordered more signs. I think they were to arrive today, and we had requests for at least 25 more signs. So we ordered more signs. We think they're in. We'll get those out to those who requested them, and we're going to extend the campaign through the end of September. So thank you to all the citizens who are getting engaged and to our businesses as well. And then a last item, one of the things we're working on within Streets and Roads and coordinating through the mayor, we were looking to improve the pedestrian crosswalk signage here on Main Street down by the Caboose crossing. And so we've been networking with the Maryland Department of Transportation. They've had some staffing changes, but I contacted them today, and apparently a lot of the municipalities are looking into these kinds of town-specific signage and lighting that they would like to have. So this is something MDOT is looking at more broadly to include our request, which is to have pedestrian crosswalk signs that are solar power lighted signs, which will draw attention to that crosswalk and hopefully make for a more safe crosswalk. So that's what's happening in Streets and Roads. Our next meeting will be held on September 24th at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Demoter. Next, I'm going to Councilmember Munder for Recycling and Sanitation and Sustainability.
All right, those should be quick, and I just got a couple general comments and announcements too. First off, there was no Sustainability Commission meeting during the month of August due to the various commission members being on vacation. So the next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 16th at 7 p.m. here in Town Hall. The Recycling and Sanitation Commission is scheduled to meet next Wednesday, September 18th, here at Town Hall at 7 p.m. So please come out if you want to join or just see what we're doing. Also, as mentioned by several people, there is a duck race here this Sunday up at the fire department at 2 p.m. And there are still many homeless ducks that need to be adopted. So please go to the website www.mtaduckrace.com and adopt one or even several of these small, lovable, and adorable animals. Second off, I attended the Carroll County Commissioners held a listening session during August related to the Maryland Piedmont Reliability Power Line project. I attended that. It was very informative and well attended, and all the elected officials there in all the counties that this project is being proposed to has publicly come out and opposed the project as it currently stands. Even though there's no final route that has been proposed yet. It is imperative that anyone that dislikes this or has comments on it, contact the Maryland Public Service Commission at the following address. It's piedmontcomment.psc@maryland.gov. If you go to Maryland PSC website, it's on the right-hand side under Maryland Reliability Project. So please send all comments to the PSC saying you dislike this or like it or whatever, so that you have it on record. The more that come out and say something about it, the better chances are to impact the final outcome of this project. As mentioned earlier, there is a Planning Commission meeting or workshop this Thursday relating to the master plan, so please check it out on our website. Make sure you understand the various chapters, the zoning, and particularly when it relates to zoning, understand both the classification and the allowed uses under that zoning, because sometimes people think a certain commercial use is allowed in all areas and residential areas, straight residential, and that's not always the truth or the fact of the matter. So please read and become familiar with both the plan, the usage, the classifications, and what's allowed under that. And unfortunately, the fourth and final comment, I hate to say that the internet had some false information on it related to a costume shop coming downtown here at the old Flatiron building. It was all over. I believe the mayor had to kill that rumor here, but I do want to say, if you are in the market for a good costume, please visit your local Goodwill store. Your purchases do go to a much-needed cause. So that concludes my comments and report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next was Water and Sewer Commission on Aging and Livability. I don't have council member Washabot. Does anybody have his reports? Nope. You have something for Water and Sewer? Come on up, please.
Dick Swanson, Chair of the Water and Sewer Commission. For about the past 2 months, we've been working on looking at the reports, documentation, and things like that around the town. And we sent a request to Barney. Barney gave us some information to start the process. It has to do with things like checking the internal controls. And one example is like what records are kept to document when pumps are turned on and off in relation to trying to mitigate the PFAS in our water and controlling that to make sure it's well documented. So we want to look into that. We also brought up about how often should the mayor or the town go out and update people on the status of the PFAS remediation? Should it be annually, semi-annually? We had a collaborative effort, which turned out to be a very good letter that went out, I believe, back January to the residents. But we need to think about how we want to keep them informed and keep transparency in what's going on so they feel comfortable that the town is dealing with that. I also would point out that we are collecting some information on the fiscal year 2024 financial results for Water Department, Sewer Department, and Katie has given me some information. And as suspected, the operating side of the house spent more money than they took in. And of course, that usually means that you pull money out of your reserves to cover the cost. I haven't gotten information, and I will be asking you for the capital side of the house and see how we're doing there. But I just want to let everybody know that, we are running deficits, and we need to consider how we want to deal with that, because we don't want to get in a prolonged, year after year of working off our reserves. So I just wanted to bring you up to date on that. The Water and Sewer Commission meets the first Wednesday of every month, 7 o'clock, right here in Town Hall. Great, thank you.
Great, thank you, Dick. I'm going to go on now to the town attorney report.
Since the last meeting, I've worked, of course, on the annexation materials that are on the agenda to set a public hearing tonight. In addition, worked on the PWAs that are on the agenda, both in the open session and later on the closed session. And then I'll have another matter to discuss in closed session with you regarding the PFAS litigation in South Carolina.
Next, we'll go on to the town administrator. Do you have anything? Everyone has their copy of the report. Do you have anything to add?
Nothing more to add, thank you.
And everyone has their code enforcement report and the zoning administrator report. All right, so now we're going to go on to new business. We have a request for a road closure for Tuesday, October 22nd from 5 to 8:30 for the trunk or treat on Main Street from Prospect to Paradise. And I'm going to call her up because she loves speaking in public. Kelly Patrick, I see she's back there from Mamza. Did you want to?
I have an Oktoberfest medal that you can win if you sign up for a contest at Oktoberfest.
Do we have to run to get that?
No, you have to hold a stein, or there is a relay, since I know you
holding.
love to run.
There's a what?
Letty, there is a relay, since I know you love to run.
So what else do you want to talk about, trunk or treat?
I'm here for the trunk or treat for the road closure. So it'll be Tuesday, October 22nd. What do you sign up for? 5 to 8:30, I believe. Event is 6 to 7:30. Bring families downtown, do some trick or treating. Gonna have the businesses offering candy. Family event, something for kids.
Anybody have any questions for Kelly? I mean, we've been doing this how many years now?
Well, we've done it a couple. Town did it last year. Mamza and the town did it year before. We kind of trade off a little. It's our turn.
Anybody have any questions? So I'll make a motion that we approve the road closure for the trunk or treat on Tuesday, October 22nd from 5 to 8:30. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Just want to make sure that, just a quick question or a comment. Just want to make sure, since it is a main, say, evening commute time, that it's well, at least at the south end of town, that the police, there's ample signage directing the main traffic somewhere
Agree.
down to bypass
Yes.
Main Street. And I guess parking will still be available at the municipal lot
Yes, sir.
for the families and stuff, and all the other parking. So that's it.
And could you, adding on to that, make sure you talk to Brian down at Public Works to get our signboards up that say it's going to be closed? Because when I contacted him for the Mount Airy Mile, he didn't know. So if you would just make a call down to Brian at Public Works and ask him to get our sandwich boards up, that will let people know it's going to be closed that night. They usually put them about a week ahead of time.
So Ashley usually helps us with that and gets everybody from Public
through
Works
Ashley and
in.
have her.
Yeah, she
Would be
does.
like-
Make
for Main
sure he
Street stuff.
knows.
Yeah. Change
Yes,
the
sir.
electronic signs.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nobody against, unanimous? Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks for calling me up, Lynn.
I knew you'd love it.
Have a good night.
I like the medal.
Come to win one. Don't forget, October 5th. See you there.
Can I just run down Main Street and get it? Okay, next new business is the approval of proposed revisions to a PWA for lots 7A and 18A for Twin Ridge Professional Park. And I believe we all have received clean copies.
Red line copies.
Yes, the
Yep.
red line copies.
These PWAs were approved by the council quite some time ago. The developer is ready to move forward now with those lots, development of those lots. They did, through their council, ask for certain changes to the public works agreements that were approved. These lots are lots 7A, the CubeSmart self-storage, and then 18A. The changes they have proposed are the same as to each. Most of them were really not substantive. They're, I would say stylistic more than anything else. There were a couple of substantive changes that they had proposed that I advised I would not recommend. So they dropped those demands. They wanted to put up a one-year letter of credit rather than a 3-year letter of credit. I said we required 3 years. And they also wanted to take out provisions that basically, in the event of conflict between the PWA any of the development plans or our code, that the most favorable to the town would be the one that applies. And moreover, that in the event of dispute between the parties over the meaning of certain provisions within the PWA, the final decision would be vested in the town engineer. They wanted that change. I told them that I would not recommend that, and so they dropped those two demands. The only substantive changes that, in discussion with Barney and in reviewing it, actually probably makes some sense and may be something that we will consider for our standard PWA language going forward. Those are on pages 8 and then pages 9 spilling over into 10. It has to do with, number one, when they would essentially put up the inspection fee, the security, as well as the the retainer, and then the water, the water expansion fund. That would be, they have proposed as soon as they get, within 1 year after they get final development approval, but before they get a building permit. Furthermore, if that 1 year expires and there has been no pulling of permit and essentially movement toward any of the construction, then they proposed, and this makes sense, that either party, either the town or the developer, could terminate this agreement with return of their security and all of that. To explain that a little bit, obviously they're concerned about a sizable letter of credit being sort of outstanding and put up for a period of time, a long period of time before they're ready to get moving on the project. I then said, well, we also have the opposite problem. We don't want approved PWAs sitting out there with no movement. So the outgrowth of that, the solution to that, was a mutual termination provision where we could terminate the PWA if they don't get moving, basically, or they can. And as long as there's no construction moving forward on the project, as long as it's vacant land, termination probably should result in a return of their security. But then they would have to start the whole process over again. They couldn't just come back and say, changed our mind, let's move forward. They would have to submit new plans. They would have to go through the process entirely all over again. And that seemed to be a reasonable request. They agreed to my change in response to that. And as I say, I did consult with Barney on that, and it's probably a provision, actually, that I think we may incorporate going forward in our sort of standard PWAs. But I told them, particularly on that change, which is substantive, that since you all had approved the prior PWAs, that this would have to come back for approval before the council. So that's why it's here on the agenda for you. And I have in red line shown what their changes are and all of that.
Okay. So, did you want to make a comment? I want to turn it over to the mayor.
Well, it's not that I'm making a comment. Tom, in terms of passing these, are they interconnected? Do they both have to be passed at the same time or separately?
No, they could be separate. It's just that the PWAs were identical in the first place, and hence the changes that they've proposed are identical. And I do know, at least they've indicated, that they want to get moving forward on both, in the very near future.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, so we need a motion to approve ordinance 2024-21. Do I have a, no?
No, approval of the PWAs. So
Oh, sorry, I moved down, sorry.
Yeah.
I already moved ahead, guys, sorry. I am in a hurry. Motion to approve the revisions to the PWAs for lots 7A and 18A Twin Ridge Professional Park.
Okay, I'll make the motion for approval as currently drafted so we can continued discussion on the PWAs for Lot 7A, Section 2, Twin Ridge Professional Park, also known where the location of the Cube Smart Self-Storage will be. And I guess we can do it both at the same time, Tom?
Up to you all.
Or any concern with that, Mayor, since you mentioned? Oh, you just mentioned that, could they be done at the same time?
I was just making sure
Okay.
logistically we were doing it correctly.
Okay, that's fine. And then motion for approval and discussion on Lot 18A of the Twin Ridge Professional Park, which for those that do not know is located next to the Ross Contracting along Rising Ridge. I believe that little final strip between Ross and the residential development along Rising Ridge.
So we have a motion. Do I hear a second? So we can discuss.
I'll second.
So it's been motion second, open for discussion.
All right. Madam Secretary / President, for the evening's purposes.
Go ahead, Councilmember
Sorry,
Lunder.
I just wanted to say thank you, Tom, for reviewing these and working in working in the town's best interest. I did have one concern and comment regarding the letter of credit versus the standard bonding. Upon research on what a letter of credit is, it said normally it's only good for 1 year. I was not satisfied with that, and I was going to ask for wording to be added to extend it similar to what a bond would be. And there's nothing, so whatever, say, the letter of credit's extended to 3 years, there's nothing that what happened at the end of 3 years if they haven't finished. Does a letter of credit get, I want to say, renewed normally?
Yeah, if their project's not done, then, and closed out, then they have to
Okay.
renew it. Yep.
All right, so no matter which is a bond or a letter of credit, if something happens that we're not satisfied, we do get reimbursement for it.
I should clarify, it could be for a reduced amount if by then you have made
Yeah.
reductions in the amount of security you're requiring under the BWA. Then the new letter of credit would reflect what you've reduced it down to.
All right, but, I mean, the town's protected no matter what, if it's just a bond or a letter of credit, for the most part.
I tend to like letters of credit better. Developers do not like letters of credit because it's cheaper to buy a bond.
Oh, okay, so if the developer doesn't like it, it probably means it's better. So, thank you, that's it for my question. Lynn, thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, I have a question. It's just maybe a reminder to me. So this is regarding the first document that says Cube Smart Self-Storage on page 12. Very bottom of page 12, item number 16, landscaping. So this is kind of directed, I'll give a heads up to our town planner, John Breeding. So I believe I attended the Planning Commission meeting where this project was discussed, and there were a lot of citizen comments and Planning Commission member comments about the landscaping and the need for more screening, more trees, adequate landscaping because of concerns about the Twin Ridge residents in that area. And I think there was either an understanding or an agreement that additional screening and landscaping and such would be added. And I think that was part of the basis for the Planning Commission positive recommendation. So my question is, on item number 16, where it says no permit shall be issued relating to this development until approval of a final landscape plan by the town as set forth in the town's landscaping manual. Is this the place where if we don't think the landscaping is adequate as to what we were expecting, that's where we could make that known?
Yeah, so it's interesting because the plan would have been approved with the landscaping plan that was part of that site development plan. So it's an interesting comment to have in there. I normally don't receive a revised plan for landscaping. There were some requirements for some screening. They had to put in some fencing and some increased density on the I guess, the south side of the plan.
Correct.
Along Bridge, I'm not sure the name of that road, but anyway, up into Twin Ridge. So ultimately, I'd have to look at the plan to see, but I'm pretty sure that the plan was approved with the increased density of the plantings.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, motion has been made to approve and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Unanimous ayes. Going to go on now to commission appointments and reappointments. I'm going to turn that over to Mayor Hushhour.
All right, thank you. I'm making the following recommendations for commission appointments and reappointments at this meeting. One, Sean Kelly would move to a full member of the Board of Appeals, and would like to appoint Amy Woodder as the alternate to the Board of Appeals. Just like with the Planning Commission, we generally move the alternate to a full position and then bring in an alternate. So that's my request from the council.
So let's take them one by one. So we've got, because typically, this is a formality, isn't it? Don't we typically, with most commissions, the alternate moves in when someone vacates the position?
I wouldn't say typically. What I would say is in the Planning Commission and the Board of Appeals, we generally typically do it that way.
So I'll make a motion that Sean Kelly be moved to full member of the Board of Appeals from an alternate.
I would second that.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of Sean Kelly becoming a full member of the Board of Appeals, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Next one, now we got to fill that alternate spot because Sean will be jumping on that. That's what, 2 commissions now? We're getting there. There's a couple more we're going to push for Sean. Uno más. So the next one the mayor wants is Amy Witter appointed as the alternate member of the Board of Appeals. I'll make a motion to appoint Amy Witter as the alternate member of the Board of Appeals. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. So welcome to the new member of the Board of Appeals, and I think they have a meeting coming up.
So I'll have to swear you in before the meeting, Amy, and I want you to know I did watch you remove that hornet from the council chamber. Good job.
Is that what that was?
So not only is she on the Board of Appeals, but she's also a bug smasher.
So, and their meeting is coming up
Tomorrow night.
tomorrow night, so you'll be swearing her in tomorrow night or here tonight?
Tomorrow night.
Okay, so tomorrow night, the mayor's going to swear you in,
What time's the BOE?
7 o'clock.
Yeah, and that's
7
related
o'clock
to.
tomorrow night,
Yeah.
jumping right in. All right, so now we're going to go on to ordinances and resolutions. Thank you, Mayor, by the way, for continually getting commissions filled with volunteers. Appreciate it. Ordinances and resolution, ordinance 2024-21, budget amendment to add $104,900 for the Rails to Trails West of Main Street project, and I'd like to start with Mayor Hushhour. Did you want to say anything about that?
I think Katie has a better lowdown on everything. I did send everyone an email, and what was reflected in that, I'll just give you the broad view of it. There's 2 grants that were received for Rails to Trails. One was Program Open Space, and the other one was LPPI, which is a Parks Improvement Grant. The Program Open Space has a 25% match. And so the money that would come out of the reserves, I think, was shown at like $22,000. Is that correct? Okay, is the match for several projects that have occurred over there. And I did drop off a spreadsheet to everyone prior to the council meeting that talks about all the things that have gone on there. But, such as benches, we have some stormwater management things going on, archway, all the amenities that are on the trail. Ultimately, Rails to Trails West was about a $2 million project. But we have received so many grants on this thing. We purchased the land under grants. We were able to provide the remediation of the contamination of the soil through grants and also through a lucky bond bill that one of the secretaries put in with us for while Governor Hogan was in office. So we've been able to do a lot over there, and now we're coming up with this $22,000 that would be pulled out of reserves. So that kind of gives a lowdown. If you have specific questions, Katie and the town administrator went through this pretty heavily to answer questions tonight. So, but it's basically just a budget amendment to get through Rails to Trails West. Thanks.
All right, does anybody have any questions or comments?
I have a couple questions.
Do you want the motion first?
You gotta do a
Yeah,
motion.
that's,
Yeah.
You want to make a motion? I'll make a motion. Motion to
Okay.
approve ordinance 2024-21, budget amendment to add 104,900 for the Rails to Trails West of Main Street project. Do I have
I'll
a
second that motion.
Now it's been seconded. Let's discuss. Councilmember Demoter?
so first, thank you, Mayor Hushhour. I had pulsed the mayor, I guess about a week ago with some questions, and I guess working with town staff, pulled that information together and sent it to us all as council members, so I appreciate that. A couple questions, and again, I support Rails to Trails. I think it's an important recreational feature for the town, and once it's all cobbled together and complete, I think it's going to be strategically an economic engine for the town as well, for a number of reasons. So I support the trail, but I just have some questions. So in the ordinance, it says, whereas Rails to Trails West Main Street project has been predominantly funded with state and federal grants. Can you give me a sense what predominantly means? Is that 90% grants, 60% grants?
So the only matching grant that we've had for this is the Project Open Space that's addressed in this one. That's the only match that we've had to add to it for everything that's gone into it. The acquisition was completely covered by grants. The capping was completely covered between ARPA funds and grants. And like I said, everything that's gone on there has been covered by grants, except for this 25% for Project Open Space.
Okay, so is there, maybe you could send this separately offline, but I guess it would be helpful to see, like, over time, what's been the total expenditures for the project? And then how much of that came from grants and how much was funded by the town? That would be helpful information. Not for tonight, but helpful information.
If I may, I think what Katie has told you is that 22,000 is coming from the town,
And that's it
from our reserves, and that's it, all right? You said the acquisition, which I do remember, it was 2 program open space land acquisition grants at about 300,000 apiece. I mean, we could draw all this up into a document, but I think your bottom line is how much came out of the town reserves, and Katie, is that correct?
Pretty much. I mean, there's stuff that from when the project first started years ago, like you have your attorney fees when you start, like that's not always covered by grants, but as soon as you start getting it, like our major purchases have all been covered by grants.
Yeah, that would be true. I mean, if I went back to 2013, because I remember arguing for it before I was even on the council, we had to do a survey of the property, and I tried to get a budget amendment through based on Watkins Park. We built a pavilion and came in like 4,000 under budget, and I tried to get $2,000 to do this survey, and they wouldn't pass it the first time around. It had to go through a couple times because one of the council members wasn't willing to do it. So there might be some, I don't know if you would refer to that as nickel and dime stuff, but in 2013 we were moving on this and having to pay for. Really, a survey is about the only thing I remember. CSX, we had to do a lot of negotiating with them. Tom may have had some expenses that appraisals.
Definitely appraised.
Yeah, the appraisals came in. I think our appraisals, Heather, ballpark, about 4,000? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we'd have to go back to 2013.
Okay.
If the council wants that done, we could take a stab at it, but.
Well, it's always good to know, what was, if we've had success, what's the total cost of the project? And then where did the money come from and what percentage? I think that's good fiscal accounting kind of thing, so.
Well,
Okay, and I had another question, and it's kind of a side question. And the next whereas says, the full amount of funding allocated for this project in fiscal year 23-24 was not spent. I guess my question is, the work that you're doing, for which you're now drawing more from this grant and then taking money out of the reserves, is the matching. Did you anticipate doing this work in this fiscal year? Or was this something that came up unexpected? Because when we did the budget for this year, I don't remember any money being parked in the budget for this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it seems to me we would have said, okay, well, for the next budget cycle, we anticipate doing this amount of work to do these improvements. We've got a matching grant. We're going to have to kick in 25% of that. So we're going to put $50,000 or $25,000 in the budget in a line item, and we didn't do that, correct?
Well, there are things that got drug over the fiscal year due to delays and things. When we first, I know in fall of last year, I was talking about doing a spring ribbon cutting. Obviously, we didn't get it because things were getting delayed. I don't know if Ashley would be the best one to answer that, or if Katie. I mean, some of those things got drug over the fiscal year line. There might have been some delays that Barney may be aware of too.
I mean, when we were putting fiscal year 25's budget together in April, we expected these expenditures to be completed by June 30th. Unfortunately, again, things take longer. You know, contractors can't do it unless the weather's like certain way, or another job that they're working on took longer, so they can't start on ours exactly when they said they were going to start.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of where I was going, was this work that we were expecting to do, because it seems like we would have put that money in a line item, and we wouldn't be drawing money out of reserves. We're drawing money out of reserves because we're doing this final set of work, and part of most of it's coming from a grant, but part of it is coming from us, and we have to go to reserves to get it. So that's.
Well, when we have a match, especially on capital projects, the match always comes from reserves.
Okay, but do we identify that in the budget, or do we remain silent?
No, it's part of like it's how you settle the budget, and when we have to know the exact amount of how much we plan to transfer, it's factored into that number.
Okay, so that number was factored in somewhere in the budget?
Last year, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else?
I got a couple. First off, a compliment to the town staff for all the hard work they've done related to obtaining grants for this. I know it's been a long time coming. I'm glad to see that we're approaching the end of it. Getting a $2 million project paid for with grants and only having to kick in approximately $22,000 is a pretty good thing. And the $22,000 is basically required by state law, because POS money is basically 75-25. So if you take the POS money, you got to throw in the your matching funds for it, no matter, some grants are just set up that way. First off. Second off, I believe I could be incorrect on some of the numbers, but this would be what I would classify as the second part of the housekeeping items from that we did in the earlier budget, that when we just took money from the 2023, 2024 budget.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this is one of those ones we were
Yeah.
really hoping to tie up at the end of June, so we didn't pull the funds out like we usually do, because
Yeah. So we were kind of,
had a lot of these projects were started in April, and we're like, absolutely going to be done by June 30th.
yeah, and things happen. It's like building a house. Things are delayed. We just need to square up the budget and then bring it back into the budget the next fiscal year. And I see that's all that we're doing. No matter if it was done last fiscal year, this fiscal year, the money from the reserves would still have to have been drawn down and drawn out, because you indicated that no matter what, all matching grants come from the reserve. So I'm satisfied with that. But just another shout out to town staff for getting most of the money together for the grants over this long time period to minimize the fiscal impact, and the mayor himself for long-term looking into it and making sure we get paid for it via grants more so than out of pocket. So thank you. That's it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anybody else? So we have a motion on the table to approve ordinance 2024-21, budget amendment to add $104,000 $900 for Rails to Trails West on Main Street project. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? Passes. All right. Now we can get to the annexation resolution, which has not come before this body. People in the public are jumping all over social media on that, and we haven't seen it yet. 2024-46, 1.3189 acres of land located at 4111 Twin Arch Road. Schedule the public hearing. Do you think we need, so I was going to schedule it for our next meeting, October 7th. Do you think we need more than 15 minutes?
Well, but the problem is he's got to go out. First of all, we've got to approve an annexation plan. It's not approval of the annexation, it's approval of a document that goes out to comment to the county and the state planning departments. Under our county town agreement, we have agreed to give the county 60 days to review any annexation proposal. So typically I say, bump the public, the public hearing out 60 days.
So both of those have occurred through the state and Carroll County.
Carroll County just approved it,
Okay.
right?
What, correct, they give
They
favorable.
gave a favorable recommendation back to us.
Right.
Yeah. So do we still need to stick with the 60?
Nope.
Yeah.
So we've given them.
So
comments back.
October 7th, 7:15, public hearing right before our council meeting at 7:30. You guys are good with that? All right. Any unfinished business? Staff, have anything? So this concludes the public portion of our meeting. We are going to adjourn for a closed meeting. I'm going to go ahead and take roll. We have a closed meeting regarding a public works agreement and possibly something else, as the town attorney has said. So we're going to go down roll call. Councilmember Evans.
Aye.
Councilmember Munder.
Aye.
Councilmember Demoter.
Aye.
And I am an aye. We are adjourned. Thank you so much for everybody for coming, participating, and we will see you guys next month.